Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're taking a look at the SplitFish Dual SFX Evolution. This is a wireless controller for PlayStation 3 and PC. So taking a look at the box, up the top here it says Dual SFX Evolution Wireless, the most advanced console controller ever. And of course it says PS3 PC Dual Platform Controller. Gives you a bit of a picture there of the controller. And then down here it says for all the great action franchises including FIFA, Assassin's Creed, Maiden, Little Big Planets, MW2, SOCOM. And of course right in the center you got a bit of a sneak peek at the actual controller. And just there it says wireless. At the bottom here it just says independent wireless right and left hand controllers. Specially designed for PC and PlayStation 3. Top of the box is pretty much the same. It just really says that it's part of the Free Revolution series with dual motion, dual wireless domination. The sides of the box are pretty plain. They pretty much just got the logo on them. Same with the other side. On the back of the box, it has a little bit more detail here. Why get a standard controller? Upgrade it to the Evolution for extra features and more control than ever before, with independent right and left hand controllers. Package includes right hand wireless controller Evo Chuck, left hand wireless controller Frag Chunk, USB stick dongle, USB extension cable, and manual. The Dual SFX Evolution is a unique split controller, freedom to grip each chuck in a natural way, holding or moving both hands freely. The Dual SFX Evolution provides a superior new level into experience for console and PC gamers of any skill level. The fully featured controller gives all the best analog stick control can offer, plus it offers up assignable dual independent wireless motion for 6-axis or analog stick emulation, as well as wrist flick button triggering. And over the side here it says key features, fully featured controller, free and natural grip in both hands, full 6-axis motion control in both grips, motion analog stick emulation Evo Chuck, analog stick swappability, programmable motion triggers, adjustable motion sensitivity, compatible with PS3 console and PC controller function. Wireless range 3.5 meters, 2.4 GHz technology, firmware upgradable, part of the SplitFish Free Revolution series. And a little thing down the thing, it says motion features are not supported by PC games. That's the back, so now let's go ahead and open this up and take a closer look at this controller. So first up, you get a manual with it. The manual just goes through your kind of basic functions of it. What's included, how to program it, motion control, etc. So it's got a lot of interesting things in here, and explains how you can use your controller. Next you get a USB extension cable, and it's only a really kind of small extension cable. It's really only if you want to extend that USB dongle, which is the next part of it. That's the USB dongle. And again, the extension cable is really only if you need to extend this a bit more away from your console. That way you can have this further out if you're having problems with it actually seeing the controllers. So it's just a little extension cable for that. But the dongle's pretty plain. It just says Free Revolution in the middle there. And on the back it says SplitFish. On here you've actually got two LED indicators. On the left hand side there, that one will light up blue, and that'll indicate when you got the Frag Chuck actually connected, and the other one will be green, and that's when you've got the Evo Chuck connected. So for them both to work, both these lights have to be a solid color. Alright, so going into the controllers themselves. So first up, you've got the Frag Chuck. So the Frag Chuck is the control that you hold in your left hand. So first up, you've got a D-pad up the top here. Moving down, you've got a couple of different buttons here. First up, you've got the select and the PMO button. and PMO stands for Programmed Motion Override. And then you've also got a second button, which is Macro. And you've got an analog stick here, and it also clicks down. Feels quite nice, and it's got a nice rubber grip on the top of it as well. At the top here it says PS and mouse. And moving to the back, you've got 3 bumper buttons. You've got your normal 1 and 2, which are your normal type of bumper buttons on that. And then you've got a frag button up the top. And that's used to access the special features of this controller. On the side, you've got a sensitivity dial. And that is basically the sensitivity of the aiming. And on the side there, you've got an on-off switch where you turn the controller on and off. Moving on to the back, you can see it's got a nice shape, so when you hold it, it actually fits your hand quite nicely. Opening the back up here, this is where your batteries go. And this takes 3 AAA batteries, so they're really small ones. And of course it's got that cable, little cord there, so you can pull out the batteries a bit more easier. So that is the frag chuck. It's also got the SplitFish logo just there. It says SplitFish. Next one is your right-handed controller, and this is called the Evo chuck. Now this is held by your right hand. So going into the different features. So first up, you've got your actual standard function buttons here. So you've got your square, triangle, circle, and X. These are pretty small, and they've actually got that the icon of like X circle actually on top of the button, so you can actually feel it standing out. Next, you've got a macro button. You've got a semi-wheel here, and the semi-wheel basically goes left, right, up, and down. So it's just basically like a function button that adds extra features when combined with other buttons. Next, in the center here, you got your analog stick, and that also clicks down. And again, it's got a nice rubber surface on it. Down the bottom here, you have a couple extra commands there. So first off, you've got a motion on-off switch just there. And then here you've got a start/swap button. Moving up the top here, you've actually got a power on-off button. And then moving to the back of the controller, you again got your 3 bumpers, your normal 2, which you'd have on a standard controller, and then your focus button right up the top. On the side of this controller, you've got an actual on-off power button, which will actually power the controller on and off. And again, this has got a nice shape, so when you hold it in your right hand, it fits really nice and comfortably. It feels quite nice to hold. And then on the bottom, you've also got your battery compartment, just like the frag chuck. And again, this takes 3 AAA batteries. When this gets back in, there we go. Okay. So now, these controllers are basically used that you hold one in each hand. So you have one of them in each hand, and of course to connect it to your system, you use the dongle, or use the extension and the dongle, connect it to your PS3, and then once it's connected, it'll actually pick up as a controller, as like a standard gamepad controller on your PS3. The only difference is, again, when you're holding it, you're holding one in each hand, so one on the left, one on the right, and that way you've got that space in between, because these are wireless, which means you're not limited to a gamepad like this. You can have your hands any which way that you want. So it's more comfortable to actually hold. Because being apart has also freedom, which means you can lean back, you can have one arm forward, one arm back, and you can still be sitting there and using it. So it does give you a bit of freedom having that kind of split type controller. And it's just like a normal gamepad, so it's got all the normal functions on it. And like I said, it's actually very comfortable to hold because they've actually shaped it so that it fits both your hands really nicely. Okay, so now into features. So what these controllers have. They can be used as a standard gamepad, so which means you just use them, use the analog sticks, use the function buttons, you use whatever you want that way, so it can be used that way just fine. So just like your normal kind of PS3 gamepad, but this also has extra features. The first one is actually, to turn it on, is actually on the frag chuck. And it's called Programmed Motion Override, or stands for PMO. And it's actually the switch just here. It says select/PMO. So to turn this on, you basically have the little left frag button up the top here. You hold that down, and this will start flashing. And then from there, you can actually assign a button to actually work with the PMO. So PMO basically allows you to trigger button when you shake the frag chuck or shake the Evo chuck. So it uses a 6-axis built into this controller to trigger it. So when you're actually turning it on by pressing that one and that one, the light here will start flashing, and then you can press whatever other button you want to assign to it. So say you want to assign X, or you want to assign down here trigger, you just press that button, it'll trigger that, and then from then on out, if you've got program motion turned on, when you shake the frag chuck or shake the Evo chuck, it'll trigger that command that you assigned. So it's just a way that you can assign something like a throw grenade, or jump, or shoot, or whatever you want, and all you have to do is shake the controller to really trigger it. So it's using the 6-axis commands. And again, compatibility comes down to the games as well, but that's how it works. It can be handy if you want to do certain things with that kind of shake motion. Saves you kind of pressing that button. Now you can also adjust the sensitivity, and you basically press that left frag button, and you actually press down on the stick, and then you press the D-pad up or down to actually put your sensitivity up or down in your shaking. So it works pretty well, and if you don't want that feature, if you think, oh, that's not a feature for me, then you can just turn it off. Again, turning it off, you press that, and you turn it off. So if you don't want it, you can turn it off. If you like it, it's there to use. Another feature you can actually use is to swap the sticks. Because most games, you would actually walk with this, and you would aim with this, but especially in military games, there's always some occasion where you come to a vehicle or some kind of thing, and it swaps the sticks around. And all you think, oh, now I'm moving with this and I'm aiming with this. I don't like this whatsoever. This has actually got a stick swap function, so if it comes to those games when it actually swaps the sticks automatically, then you can actually swap them so they're still the same the way you like them. Now you can do that easily by using this command just here. This button says select/swap, and to trigger that, basically you're holding the frag button on the back here, and you're holding that as well as that together. By holding those together, it'll beep and it'll be swap the sticks, and you just press it to swap the sticks back again. And that way, basically, this will act as the right and this will act as the left analog stick. So it's a cool little feature, especially in those games that force you to swap the sticks and you don't really want that to happen. Another feature this has is called rapid fire. So you can assign rapid fire to one of the buttons, and it's pretty easy to do that. You put the left frag button, you hold your L3, should I say, your R3 down on this one, and then basically you press a button that you want to assign to rapid fire. So if you want the trigger, you press that, and then from then on, that trigger is now rapid fire. So it's going to fire automatically. And while you're in that mode, so while you're holding all those three down, then you can also press a D-pad up and down to actually turn the rate of fire up and down. And it'll beep like multiple times to let you know what type of rate you're at. So if it's beeping once, it's 1. Beeping twice, it's twice as much. So that's a cool little feature in case you like rapid fire to help you with those kind of shooters. And of course, they've both got macro buttons on the side here. Macro there and macro there. Macro just allows you to assign a group of buttons or commands so that you can actually have them all at once by triggering one button. So it's a pretty cool feature as well, because it allows you to customize it a little bit more. Now, besides that program motion, this also has one more motion type control, and that's actually with this Evo chuck. the motion control that it actually allows you to use, normally you would aim with your right analog stick, but if you turn this motion control on, it allows you to aim with using motion of the controller. So if you move it up and down, it's moving up and down, left and right, it moves left and right. So it allows you to aim with actually just moving the controller. Very similar to a Wiimote, but the motion's sort of built in, like a motion sensor built into it, instead of using a sensor bar. So it's just using motion that it actually feels when you're moving your hand. To turn motion on, you hold your right frag button here, you click in, so hold this, click in, and then the semi wheel here, you press left. That'll turn motion control on, which now you can actually move it. And it's really easy if you want to turn it off, you just press that motion control from then out. You press that and that'll turn it off, turn it again, it'll turn it on. So you can easily turn it on and off whenever you really want it. And of course if you don't like that thought, you can just turn it off. And you can also adjust the sensitivity by again holding those two buttons and then moving the semi wheel up and down. That'll adjust your sensitivity level of that kind of motion controlled aiming. Now the motion controls do work, they're allowed to aim, but there's nothing fantastic and it can be annoying at times. Especially when you're trying to move it and it doesn't go into that direction fast enough. Like you're trying to turn around and you're doing this and it's just going so slowly when it's moving. It's just not turning fast enough for you. So even though you can use it, it's not exactly 100% the best kind of motion control aiming. And I'm sure like after a while you'd be able to get used to it. Because another thing that annoyed me is when you first turn it on, it automatically inverts your aim. Which means when you're going up, you're actually aiming down. And when you're going down, you're aiming up. So it completely inverts your aim, which is really annoying. You could get used to it, but really it's not going to really help you improve your game at all. Honestly, it's probably just better just to turn the motion control off and just use the right analog stick to aim. But it is there in case you want it. And another thing, if you have that program motion on either of these controllers, that PMO turned on, don't turn the motion controls on. If you want motion controls, turn that PMO off, because they conflict. What you'll find, say you assign shoot to that shaking motion, and you turn motion control on. The problem you'll find is when you're actually trying to aim with that motion control, it's going to trigger that PMO. So you're trying to aim, but it's shooting at the same time. So if you're using that, don't have the PMO at the same time as the motion controls turned on. Have one or the other. But yeah, overall with the motion controls, it turns out better to use just the aiming on the right analog stick. The motion controls are there, and while they are a good attempt, they are not the best, and they don't really do anything fantastic when you're using with any type of game. It is a good idea though. So overall, they're a very cool looking controller. You can see that cool design on them. They look pretty cool. They work pretty well as well. They feel really comfortable to hold. Now these have a lot of customization features as well as motion control options, so at the end of the day they do have a lot of features packed into these two controllers. But when it comes down to the motion controls, it's best probably just to ignore them completely and just use it as a gamepad. You can of course still use the rapid fire and stick swap and all the other bits and pieces that it offers, macro features, and of course it gives you that kind of freedom of having two-piece controllers and just having your hands anywhere while you're playing. So it gives you that freedom, and it really is a bit of freedom that you don't have to have your hands like this the whole time playing like a standard gamepad. You can just move your hand one way or another and have your arm resting on your knee while using the other one like this, aiming like this. It does give you that freedom, and because it's wireless it gives you even more freedom. So overall they work really well. The freedom is really nice, the fact that it gives you two-piece controllers, but the motion controls are a bit of a letdown as they don't work as well as probably advertised. And, you know, I suppose you could get used to them, but really, it's probably not really worth it for what advantages they really give you. It is a nice attempt, though, at motion control built into the controller, other than 6-axis, but, yeah, it just doesn't work as good. So overall, if you're, thinking of getting something like this, if you want a two-piece controller that gives you that kind of freedom of holding them apart, not being restrained to having a normal gamepad right in the center like this, then, of course, this controller is good. Also, as well as customization, sensitivity adjustment, everything like that. And of course, if you want motion controls, then again, it's got them. But they are optional. But if you don't really want anything, you're not thinking you really care about having a standard controller, then it's probably best just to stay with your standard gamepad and give a controller like this a miss. But if you do like the idea of having that kind of split controller freedom, then this controller may be for you. So overall, a very cool design and a very cool attempt by SplitFish to create like a motion controller as well as a gamepad built into one, but not exactly there. It needs a lot of improvement before it becomes like a standard kind of motion controller on its own. But you guys, thanks for watching. I am Sharkie Gamer. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll have heaps more gaming controller and accessory videos up very shortly. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you'd like to, and if you like this video, hit that like button. It really helps out a lot, guys. Thanks for watching.